Hi everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Davide Panozzo. I'm a blues artist. I have 5 albums under my name and also I am the founder of GUITARlab, Modern Blues Guitar Academy Online. And this is going to be a new class for the new series, Blues Guitar Essentials, my live course open to everybody and free for everybody, live on my YouTube channel every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10:30 Eastern Time, 4:30 p.m. Rome time if you're watching it from Europe. And in this series, I'm talking about all stuff related to blues guitar. We discussed scales, comping, soloing, theory, harmony, a lot of stuff already. But if you haven't done it already, please go here and check the previous classes. I'm going to be posting a link after the live streaming, okay? And as I said, as I always said, you can always go here and use the QR code to check the other classes if you like. But also, if you like to shoot me an email if you have any questions about classes or the stuff that we discuss in this series, you can also shoot me an email here, davide@davidepanozzo.com. And if you haven't done it already, you can also go and check my academy out, Modern Blues Guitar Academy Online, okay? GUITARlab Modern Blues Guitar Academy Online on guitarlab.academy. Make sure to select the right version of the website. If you go on the right page, on the upper right page, you can select the right flag, the American one or the Italian one, okay, depending on the version that you like to use, okay? So I can see somebody. Hello, Retro. Hi, love it. Thanks, Davide. Thank you, Retro. Thank you so much. Hey, Alessandro. Ciao, Davide. Ciao, Ale. Okay, so today we'll talk about blues progression, basically. So we'll try to understand the 12-bar blues structure, okay? So we discussed about the topic a little bit in the previous classes, so make sure to watch them all. We did, this is going to be the 12th class so far, so a lot of stuff, but today we're going to focus just on this, okay? So first of all, the definition of it. So what is a 12-bar blues structure? So basically it's the foundation of blues genre, okay? So, and is basically a chord structure based on the very common progression 1-4-5, right? So why is called 1-4-5? Just because if you are on G7, for instance, on a blues progression in G, you're gonna have a G7, for instance, which is the first chord, one chord, and then you go up on C, so it's a G, A, B, C, right? And then you have a C7, okay? And also on a 5 chord, you're gonna have a D7. So 5 chords from G, okay? So very easy. The very first thing that you need to understand and think about is the blues structure. It's just like something different from the classical harmony, okay? Because if we think about the harmonization of a major scale, we will have a major chord on the 1 chord, a major 7 on the 4 chord, and also the dominant 7 on the 5, okay? So the blues structure is totally another different word, right? So, and that creates the whole sound of the genre, actually, okay? So for our ears, it sounds like normal to have 3 dominant chords, right? With the 1 and the 4 and the 5 chord. But in classical terms, this is something really cool, okay? So that is the reason why we hear that kind of sound, that kind of structure that we love, right? Mostly of that, is based on the chord structure. Okay, so let's use the guitar cam and let's find out what the chords are. Okay, so G7 basically is a major chord, right, with the 7, with the minor 7th. Okay, so we have G, D, F, and B. So it's a major triad, right, with the minor 7th. So once again, on harmonization, we will have a major chord with a major 7, right? So following that rule, we will have a G7, C7, and then D7, right? But it doesn't sound blues at all. But if we use G7, C7, and D7, it's totally a different thing, right? All right. So having said that, let's try to focus on the structure. Okay, so the classic 12-bar blues structure is based on this structure that I'm gonna play. So it's like 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then it goes on the 4 chord. So 1, 2, and then it goes on a 1 for 2 bars, and then it goes on a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 chord, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that has to be the fundamental of the blues structure, and I always repeat this because it's really a common mistake to mess up the structure, right? So even when we jam with other people, we need, if you want to play a blues, to keep in mind that structure, right? So it is simple as that, but it's really important, right? You don't want to mess up in your jam and you don't know what to play or where you are playing the blues structure. Okay, most of the time I see the structure messed up all the time, right? Especially in the beginner stage, right? So but beside that, there is another thing that I like to show you guys, and it's called quick change. So some blues songs use the same structure, but instead of playing 4 bars on the 1 chord, they play 2 bars on the 1 and 2 bars on the 4. It's really useful and easy if you think about like Sweet Home Chicago. Okay, so we all know about this. Okay, so it's like, I cannot sing it because otherwise the video will be blocked, but you know the song, right? So 4 chord, and then it goes back on a 1, and then it goes back on a 4, right? Okay, so it's a 1, 2, 1. Okay, and then it goes back on a 4, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. Okay, so that is the quick change. So basically, instead of keeping the length of 4 bars at the very beginning, so you just switch back and forth between the 1 and the 4 chord, basically. Okay, so that is called quick change. Okay, so and it's basically, it depends on the tempo, it depends on the structure, it depends on a lot of stuff actually, but you just think about that. So in the 4 bars, you can go back after 2 bars, or sometimes even after 1 bars. So you can also play like 1. Right? And then you go back on the 4, on the first. And this is the most common one. Okay, so let me play this. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, and it goes on 4, 3, 4. Go back on 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. On the 4, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, run, 1. Okay, so instead of doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, right? Goes back on the 4. So instead of doing this, we can always do the quick change. Okay, so usually it's 1 bar of the first, and then right after that it goes on the 4, or it's 2. It depends on the length. It depends on what you are playing, basically. Okay, but just keep that in mind. Okay. Also, just staying on the basic blues form, we have 2 basic forms. Okay, so the major blues and the minor blues. Okay, so that is the major one. So basically we said that we were using a G7th. So it's a dominant chord, so it's a major with a minor 7, right? But we can do the same thing with a minor 7 chord. So we have a G minor 7, so which is a minor chord with a minor 7. Right? The same thing happens on the 4. So you have a C minor 7th and then D 7th. Okay, usually on the 5 chord we always have a dominant chord. Okay, even on the blues, on the minor blues. So it's like this: 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then it goes on the 4 chord. So 1, 2, 1, first chord, and 2, 1, 1, and 1, 4, 1. Okay, and even here we can always do the quick change. So it's like 1, 1, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 chord. And in this case it's a C minor 7th. And G minor 7. D 7th. C minor 7. And G minor 7. C minor 7. G. All right. Okay. So having said that, we can always add something to the basic form, right? Because for instance, another thing that you really want to think about as a common variation other than the quick change is the turnarounds. Okay, so we discussed about it. We discussed turnarounds in the previous class, and is always a good thing to learn some of them and use them both in comping and improvisation, because it's always interesting and create a lot of movement in our playing, right? So for instance, we are on a major blues in G. You can always play turn around at the very beginning of it. So Okay, so I move from the one chord to the four chord. And then the one. And then I go on the five chord, D7 and C7, and now I can play the same turnaround. Right? Which is really common. Okay, so if you really want to deepen the topic, I suggest you guys to go back on the previous class when I discuss turnarounds. But basically, we said that turnarounds you can use them at the very beginning or at the ending of every blues form. Okay, blues progression. So feel free to do that. And also, once you mastered the blues form, the major blues form, you can definitely, and the minor blues form, you can also add something spicy that you want to try, but I suggest you guys to do that later on because it's a little tricky at first. Okay, so you can always add the jazz turnaround to the blues form. Okay, so let me show you this. So it basically goes like this. So quick change on the 1/4, right? We just studied that. So 4 chord, and then it goes on the 1, and then it goes on the 6th, 2nd, 5th, and the 1, 6th, 2nd, 5th. Once again, 1st chord, 4 chord, first 1, 4 chord, 1, 6, 2nd, 5th, and 1st. 6, 2, 5, 1. Okay? Why I say 6, 2, 5, 1? Because if I'm considering G as a root of my blues progression, so I'm gonna be doing E, which is 6 notes from G. Okay, and I can decide to play E minor 7, but in the modern version of it, you can play a dominant chord, so E7th, and then you can go and play A7 or A minor 7, and then D7, going back on G. Okay, so once again, first 4. Now I'm playing as a walking bass, comping, right? So it's like having a bass player. 6, 2, 5, 1. 6, 2, 5, 1. Okay. Obviously, this is something. Once again, you can play later on because you have to get used to the blues progression. Okay, especially you have to understand where to place it. Okay, so basically you do like usually when you play the jazz turnaround, you have the quick change too. So it's like 1, and then 4 chord, and then 1 again, right? Then it goes on the 4. And then it goes on the 1, and instead of going on the 5, it goes on the 6th, then on the 2nd, and then it goes finally on the 5. And then again, 6, 2, 5, 1, okay? So you have to think about that and where to place the jazz turnaround, not to be considered as the blues turnaround. So two different separate things. Okay, so the blues turnaround is the progression that we played at the very beginning or the ending of a blues progression, while the jazz turnaround is the 6-2-5-1 chord progression, okay, which is totally a different thing, okay. So having said that, once you understand the structure, you can definitely go back and watch those dominant chords voicings I showed you guys in a previous class. But we can play that, okay? We can play that today, so to have a little recap. So G7, you can play like G7, but also, as I showed you in the previous class, you can always do like a first 4. So 1-4, keeping the root of G, right? So you can do like this. Okay, so C7th. See, this is actually a C7th 9 because you have a D, right, which is basically a second from C on the upper octave, right? And then once again on the first, okay, and then you go here on the 5 chord. I usually play this chord, which is like the Hendrix chord, they call it, which is a D7th sharp 9. So it's D7, which is a major chord, so D, F sharp, C, and then you have the natural F. So it's really dissonant if you think about it, because you have both F sharp and natural F, right? But if you play it at the end of the blues progression, it's a nice sound to have it. So, right? So once again, you can always play different chords, variation of dominant 7, like this, like this, like this, or also like this, right? Or you can also play B minor 7 flat 5 over G, which is kind of a G 7 9, right? So it's like, and the same thing on the 4. D7 sharp 9, C7, turn around, 1-4, and then C7, G7 again, D7 sharp 9, C9, and once again turn around. Okay, so and so on and so forth. So make sure to use all this kind of stuff to play around the blues progression, okay? And obviously you can do the same thing on a minor blues, as I showed you before. So for instance, instead of playing like the 1-4 on G7, you can always do the same thing on a G minor 7 that goes with a slide over C major. Okay, so you can always do like this, which is a very common movement in the chord. And you can do the same thing on C. And then D7 sharp 9, this could be another movement, okay? So it's a G minor, and then the same 1-4 going on C, same thing. then D7, sharp 9, all right. So don't underestimate the time that you are investing in knowing and understanding the blues form, because we're gonna use this information later when we talk about more improvisation. We're discussing improvisation, because every time you want to improvise with a different level of awareness in your playing, you always have to think about chords, because chords are the context. Okay, so to play whatever you feel like, right? So if you don't know chords, if you don't know voicing, and you don't know the structure that you are playing to, so it's gonna be something difficult, right? So it's definitely safer and definitely important to understand chords and structure before you actually play some soloing. Okay, so chords first and scales later. Okay, all right, so guys, that's it for today. And once again, if you haven't done it already, you can also watch the previous class here, Blues Guitar Essentials. This is going to be a live course open to everybody on my YouTube channel, and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And also, if you have any questions, just feel free to shoot me an email here, okay? davide@davidepanozzo.com, or just comment, leave a comment on the video, okay? And I'll be happy to help. And once again, if you haven't done it already, please go and check my GUITARlab Modern Blues Guitar Academy online at guitarlab.academy. Okay. All right, guys. So thank you for watching once again, and as I always said, don't forget, practice, practice, and practice. Okay. I see you guys soon.